Hello, how is everyone today? This is another kind of interesting, unique video. I was contacted a little bit ago by a company called Craspire, and they make some really beautiful molds, so for like resins, or some of them I believe are food safe, so like you could do them in candies or soaps or kind of whatever thing. And you guys know me, I love me some resin casting and molds. So I was able to get a couple sets of molds, so that's what the video is today. I'm going to have another video that they have this, I have never seen in a collection of wax seal stamps, because that's the other thing that I really love. Like it was really hard for me to select which ones I wanted because there's so many, and then they also make custom wax seals, FYI, but that's for the second video. So what I thought I would do is show you the two different sets that I got. I'm actually going to cast them in Amazing Casting Resin, both in a white resin and a black resin, just so you can see that if you have any interest. And then I'm also going to show just a very quick way to really like bling them up and make them even cooler than they already are. So this first one here, this one I believe is a set of European inspired picture frames, and I always think that's really cool because one reason I love mold making is because you can make them flat on the back side. So if you wanted to add them to a journal or some sort of assemblage piece, they lay flat instead of rounded like a lot of things that you might buy to cast. The other reason is too, resin is generally really light. It's not a heavy material. So that's one reason I love to do this. So you can see in this kit comes with a bunch of pipettes and finger, oh my gosh, I can't think what these are called, finger cots, I think, that go on your fingertips. I have gloves on, but they send these in here. I totally would recommend and suggest you wear gloves because I have a spot on my, and I used to not do this, but I do have a spot on my hand because I do so much resin casting where it actually left a scar from the material and the resin. So I do have gloves on, but it comes with a bunch of pipettes. I'm not going to use the pipettes today. I might for this other mold because it's very delicate. It might be a way to kind of get into it instead of pouring it in there. They do have some mixing cups included. I am probably going to use my smaller mixing cups. These are a lot larger than what I use, but I'm going to hang on to these because I really love these size. But it comes with that, and then it comes with this set in particular, and I'll link everything in the video below with a discount code as well. So it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different molds, and I mean, these are so pretty. Now, I don't generally make with these types of delicate molds. You could also potentially you could press some air dry clay into these. And I've seen some really cool videos lately that I have not done where they've taken like toilet paper and wet it down and then put a layer of matte medium and then wet it down again in here. But I don't know if that would pick up, maybe, because these are very delicate molds. So we'll see, because normally my mold making, now this one's a little bit more my style. It's a lot more open. So that one I'll probably do better with. So I might have to use these pipettes just to get into these areas of these frame molds. The thing with this casting resin that I'm going to use, it sets really fast, so I'm probably going to have to make a little bit at a time if I'm going to use the pipette, because normally I pour and go, and if I use the pipette I have to take a little bit more time to be a little bit more deliberate. That one's an interesting mold. A little more deliberate. Oh my goodness, it's morning. My coffee hasn't set in my pouring here. Wow, that one is super delicate. Actually, this one I would love to be able to put some clay, paper clay, and just make a square out of it. I might have to do that off camera because I don't have any paper clay here next to me. Or try that method that I've seen lately. Here's another really pretty one with the paper towel. I also have some plaster in the rolls, you know, that you just wet. And I've always been wanting to try the plaster in one of these. I hope it wouldn't stick to the silicone mold. I might have to try that with one of these to see if I can get a plaster cast. That one's really pretty too. Alright, so I think I'm going to try on camera, because again, these are a lot more delicate than what I generally do. Let's do, I'm going to do these three right here. I'm going to play with these other ones off camera. If I have any cool ones, I'll make sure at the end of the video to put some images of what I've been able to do. So these are the three that I'm going to do, and I am going to do one set I think in white resin and one set in black resin, but I'll demonstrate the white first. So with resin, it's a two-part resin. So I usually just, for sake of, let me get one of these pipettes out here too. For sake of, because when I do my casting, I do a lot of it at one time because I have all my material out at one time. So I usually have one for the A, one for the B, and then a mixing one, and that's the one that I get rid of after each one because you'll see how quickly this stuff sets up. So I am going to pour equal parts, and I don't think this has been opened yet. It is not. It is a new one. Sorry, if I had known this, I would have already had this prepared. All right. And you want to make sure too you have some baby wipes handy nearby, some sticks for mixing. Oh my goodness gracious. Alright, so I am looking from the side here. There are lines on the side of my cup that I am using as my guide that you can't really see on camera. But I'm doing equal parts, so this is an equal part one, or equal part A, equal part B. And right now, it's okay because they're still separated, but the minute I put them together and start mixing, that's when the clock starts ticking, and you want to work quickly because you'll see here how fast this sets up on camera. Alright, so let's mix. Okay. And caps back on. Always caps back on. Don't do this and let it sit there without the cap on. Sorry, apologies. Because you don't want that to spill all over the place. Let me zoom in just a tad here. Let me move my camera back a little. Okay, so we can see all three molds here, and we see my 2 cups of resin and my mixing. So I'm going to take both of these, and I've got my bottles of resin here in front of me. So this is the A, this is the B, and I'm just going to pour them in here together into my mixing. I'm going to put them right back to where they were. I have a stick, just a popsicle stick. I buy these in bulk. And you want to mix this, and I'm sure you can see this on camera. You want to mix it until this cloudiness actually, this one's a little bit different than what I'm used to. I usually use a casting resin. This one actually is colored white, so it's kind of hard to see here on camera because normally with the normal casting resin, it goes in and you mix it, it's clearer, and you mix it until the cloudiness goes away, but this one is a white. Now that one turns white as well. And you want to make sure you mix it enough. You can feel on the side of the container here, it's starting to get warm. So this reacts by heat. So when you add these two together, the reaction starts. And I am going to try to pour this in without my pipette first, because this one's pretty open. And I usually use a popsicle stick to help guide. And I think I'm going to do the same with this one. And it's already starting to set up because it's getting really thick. I mean, this is how fast this works. Maybe I can do this one without the pipette too. I just don't want it to slow me down. Now the thing with this casting resin, after it cures, so I have this much resin left, so I need to, I'm going to not waste it, so I am going to, before this cures, I'm going to pour it into another mold. I always have extra molds sitting nearby because I always tend to make more than what I need, and it's getting really, really warm now, meaning it's going to start curing here momentarily, and you'll see what that means. Alright, I think I've got all I can out of this. So I'm going to throw those away. Let me zoom in here so hopefully you can pick up on what happens here. So this sets by heat. So what you'll see happening here is when it starts curing, it kind of blossoms up and it will start to turn white. So it's a little chilly in my house this morning. So sometimes what I will do is, okay, so this one's starting, oops, sorry. This one is starting to cure. I'm going to wait till that one. Okay, so this one's starting to cure because you can see the white here. Let me bring this one over into the camera. You can see alright, so see how white that one is? That one is in the process of curing. And it's probably because it's a little bit thicker there. So, okay, so this one over here is starting. You can see it blossoming up. And I usually don't move these around on camera, or I'm doing it because it's camera, but I don't usually like to move them. So when you have a thin area, it takes a little bit more because think about it, when it gets hot, it's thicker, so you have more of a chemical reaction happening. When it's a lot thinner, it's going to take a little bit for that heat to start, so it's going to take a little bit longer for those to cure. So my other ones are starting to cure. Let me move this one here so you can see in the corners on this one, it's starting where this white is here. This one is starting, this one's taking a bit here, so it's starting in this area. Move this over. It's starting right here in this area, and it's hard with the glare from the camera. So I'm going to let these sit for probably, I mean, this cures quickly. This is not clear resin, so it's casting resin. I'm going to let them sit for 5, 7, 10 minutes. It kind of depends. If you have a really thick piece, it will go very quick. And you would think by opposite, if it's thicker, it's going to take longer, but thicker ones actually cure a lot faster because there's a lot more chemical reaction. When it's thinner, it's going to take a little bit longer for the reaction to happen. So I'm going to let these sit, and I can tell when they're done because they're going to be solid white. So right now on the edges, I can see where it's still not quite, like this one is just taking a long time. So these might take up to 10 minutes for them to completely cure. So once they completely cure, I will come back and we'll demold these, and I'll show you how flexible they are, especially right after you demold them. And then you can also cut them up with just a pair of scissors. And you could also, bend them into a shape if you wanted to a little bit. But I will come back once these cure. I'm not going to sit here and just watch time pass by, and show you when we're ready to demold. Alright, it's been about 10, maybe 15 minutes, and again, it's a little cool here this morning, so I let it go a little longer, and plus these are, again, very thin, so it takes a little bit for them to cure. So you can see they're all completely white. So to demold, now these are pretty delicate, so I'm just going to kind of go around the outside and lift it from the mold itself, and then gently remove it from the mold. But first of all, I'm obsessed with this. Like, this turned out actually way better than I thought, but look at that. Like, it's, so you can see the thinness. It's fairly thin and it's flat on the back. Now I probably put a little too much resin here, so you can see how open it is here except for this area. So that's where, you know, maybe the pipette would help. I was just pouring it in, but I am like so impressed with the detail of that. That looks amazing. So I'm going to just show you right here. So you can see how bendable it still is because it's not completely hardened. That'll take a few hours, but I don't want it to be bended on this one, so I'm just going to make sure when I put it to the side it's completely flat down on my surface. And again, I can see where I have a lot more resin here because it's a lot thicker on this side than this side, and you know, I could have done that where the pieces wouldn't have shown through, so it just kind of depends on your look. So I'm going to set that one over here. So let's demold this one. This one is really thin. So that detail turned out really nice. So I have a couple of areas here where I have some resin overflow. So no worries. When it's in a shape like this, when it's in a condition before it completely cures, I just take my little detailed cutting scissors and trim off those pieces. So I have all of this overflow here. You can also use a file on these. That works really well. I would do that over a trash can, maybe even put a mask on because you don't want to be breathing in the particles of this resin. So, you know, if I wanted to spend a few minutes here and just kind of clean up some of those areas where I got some of that overflow, but with a file, like just a fingernail file, it works. It's one of these, and just, you know, you can come up in here, and I would do it when it's soft, because then it's, you could do it softer even when it's cured a little bit. It will sand up, but you can come in here and sand those really delicate spots, and then you can clean up that edge. But that one turned out really, really nice. So again, I'm going to make sure it's completely flat when it's curing. Let's try another one. This is like Christmas. I love demolding. So that one's a little rough. So the mold itself is supposed to look like leaves and stuff. So I'm kind of curious when I use wax or paint to bring that out, what that actually looks like. I bet it will be really cool, but it feels, the texture on it is really rough. So there's that one. So this is the one that I wasn't quite sure what it's going to look like. Oh, it actually turned out really nice there. So I have some areas that I'm going to have to clean up here. I'll just come in here real quick, and not many though, actually. Maybe some of this area in here. Again, I'll probably do this all off camera just so you're not sitting here, but there's a Cupid on it, and I want to clean up this inside piece too. But there's a Cupid on this. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. That turned out really kind of cool. And let's do this last one. So this one's a lot thicker, and this one was a more of a simple mold, so I'll show you right here. So it can bend, but it's a lot thicker because it had more resin. But that one's like perfect, and you can see the thickness of it. So I went ahead while those were curing, and I used some black resin, same concept, two-part, but it's pre-colored with black. I like that because you can add dyes to it to color it, but you know, why do that when they make it already in black? And to be honest with you, white is probably what I use the most, because then I can color it any way or do anything to it. I can paint, so you can paint on this resin, you can do anything. First of all, this dye, oh my gosh, this one is incredible, and I really like over poured, but look at the intense detail of that one. And this one I really over poured, so you can see this whole area up here. So I'll just come in here and trim that up. Trim it close. Ooh, I don't want to cut the frame itself. This is a really delicate frame, but it's so detailed. Like, I'm just so impressed with the detailness of these molds. So I'm just going to have to spend a little more time, especially here on the outside, and then this whole inside piece needs to be trimmed. Let's see if we can, it might be easier with an X-Acto knife on the inside, but the detail is incredible. And then the last one, so I went ahead and molded them all. So this is the one that was pretty flat, not so much a frame, but this one I think would look really cool with that technique of the toilet paper. And then you have like a square of it. Oops, sorry. But look at the detail of that. Alright, so I'm going to have to clean these up here rather quickly, but I wanted to show you. Let me clean these up first, then we'll pour the other set, and then I'll show you at the end just really quick ways that you can embellish these and pull out the detail of the frames. I'll be back. Alright, I cleaned all of those up, and I'm kind of glad that I went ahead and did it, because some of them were starting to set up, so it just got a little bit harder. It works really nice when it's still very pliable and soft, so I would recommend that to you as well. So let's check out this second set. So this one is, I don't know if it really has an official name, but it has like a bunch of snowflake looking things, and I think these would be great for like a halo or a crown on an art doll. That's why I was kind of drawn to this one. So just like the other one, you get the finger cots, and this one has a silicone. I will definitely use this, so you can take out your already cured resin and keep reusing it, and it's huge. I really, really like this one a lot. So that one I am definitely going to hang on to. It comes with pipettes and some sticks as well. So I'm going to put those aside. So this mold isn't individual like the others. This one is all in one piece. So the molds kind of come in different ways. But so you can see here, I just like this, I think right here would be an amazing halo on the back of a head. Like, that's what drew me to this. Plus you could make potentially buttons out of these for journal closures. Once you pour it in here, when it's still soft, you could poke holes in it. You might even be able, with like a crocodile after it's completely cured, which might be easier to poke a couple of holes, but wouldn't those be really cool as buttons? So let's make some of these. I think I'll go ahead and mix up. I'm going to mix up white first here. I'm going to let that cure. I'm going to demold it, and then I'm going to do black off camera, and I'll demold that on camera, just so I have a black set and a white set for you. So just like before, I'm going to get my mixing cup here. So I have my ones that I used previously already here. Let me get these all here. So I'm just going to reuse them. So I am going to do similar as last time, where it's like half and half. Half and half in the thing. It's always equal portions. Half and half of the cup is filled. And let me pour these in here. Put this back. I don't have any smaller sticks, so I'm just going to use this big one, and I need a smaller one actually for pouring. Let me grab some of my bigger. I like this size for mixing and pouring. Their sticks were very small, but it actually might work really well in here in place of the pipette. Alright, so I'm going to mix this quickly, and again I can feel the outside of this plastic cup to start to get warm. So you have to work quickly. But you also want to make sure it's completely mixed. So I've noticed with this white resin, it's my first time using it, it is really white together, and it does, that cloudiness does start to dissipate kind of like the other one, so I would say mix it until that goes away. So hopefully I have enough for all of them in here. Let's do the bigger ones first. So this one I just have to make sure the resin gets into the, and this is exactly where the pipette would work really nice, in all of these small little areas. Just want to make sure I have enough resin in them. One filled nicely. Oh, I don't have quite enough. And the one I really wanted to do. Let's see if I have enough in here. So I didn't have enough for the small ones. To mix a little more for the black. I think I'm just going to make sure these are all, the resin is in all of these indents here. I'm so excited about this one. Alright, so you can see this cup filled up those 6 larger ones, and we didn't get the little ones on the inside. So I'll sit here on camera until you can start to see this cure. Let me move this up. So this one right here, can you see that? So that's what happens, and again it did it in the center because that's where it's thicker, and so you've got more of this one starting and this one starting. Where those thicker parts of the resin are, it's going to cure a lot quicker. So you can see this one's starting now, that one's starting now. So that one, because it was so deep, that one definitely cured faster than some of these other ones. You can see that one working. This one has yet to do anything, but it was pretty flat. It didn't have one of these deep center pieces like the others. So you can see how fast you have to work with this resin. But the benefit of it is you can get a cast out in 15 minutes. So you don't have to wait 24 hours with like a clear resin. So it is starting on the little petals here. I can see a little bit of white. I don't know if it's picking it up on the camera. Yeah, you can see a little bit here. Where it's deeper, it's starting to cure. You can see now it's really blooming for the resin. So I'm going to go ahead and let this finish curing, so probably another 10-15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and demold them off camera, and then I'm going to re-pour it with the black resin, and then we'll demold that on camera. So I will be back. Alright, I have demolded the white ones. Oh my gosh, these are incredible. The detail, I'm like, first of all, this one I'm obsessed with. I cannot wait to add that as a little halo or tiara on an art doll. And then this one is drying right now, but I just wanted to share, and I'll do it after the demolding, some ways that you can just quickly embellish it. These are such a quick, fast process. But let's demold these first, and then I can have the ability to clean up if I need to. And I did pour enough to do the little ones as well. So these set up a little bit faster than the frames because they are a little bit thicker. But look at this detail. Like, with this black resin, I don't even need to do anything with it. It's so incredible. I am obsessed with this mold. Both of these, I'm very happy with these molds. Look at this, with a little bit of gold. Oh, I love it, love it, love it. And like these ones don't need any cleanup. Like when I poured them in here, they're clean. This one might need a little. Not much though. Like just some of these little overflow pieces here. My little needle nose pliers works well to get in there and just snip them out. But look at that incredible depth. I think everyone needs this mold, to be honest. Like on the front of a book, like just as like a book plate kind of. This is like, I know it's so hard. Let me see if the camera, look at the incredible detail. That's insane to me. Okay, let me zoom in on this one. Look at this detail. It really picks it up on the black resin on camera more than the white. These are beautiful. Let's check out these little ones. I was curious. Oh, that turned out really cool. Like that could be like a shield, a brush shield on an assemblage piece. Little ones turned out good. Alright, I'm going to have to clean this one up. And I don't know if this was overflow. No, I didn't get the resin in there completely in some of these parts on this one, but no worries. I didn't get the kind of east-west, so it's missing the east-west. But it looks like a little turtle, doesn't it? Oh, I love, love, love these. So these are the two sets of molds, the frames and these snowflake, I guess. I don't know what to call them. These are all the different casts. So like these are much firmer now, the frames. I mean, they still probably could set up for another 30 minutes. Like this one is still a little flexible before I start embellishing them, because I don't want to misshapen them and let them dry. But look at those. So once these set up a little bit more, I'll be back, and I would just want to show how you can quickly embellish these and paint them. But first of all, just I want you to like look at this Googleness. Like this is so amazing here. But I'll be right back. Okay, so I just want to share how easy it is to like embellish these. So see this one here? All I did was take some wax paste and rubbed it on it, and you can see the incredible detail. Is that not beautiful? Like that's all it took. So this one, I just painted it with black acrylic paint, and that looks kind of cool itself. I rubbed off so it got the higher points, but like I could take that and then take some more of this paste and, you know, rub it over that. Like this is like where you can really make these things just pop. So look at that now. Is that not beautiful? So the black just added depth, and that's why I like using the black resin, to be honest with you. So then this piece, and you can paint these with acrylic paint. So this one I just painted with acrylic paint. Sometimes I will gesso it before just to make sure the paint sticks. Sometimes I just don't care. This one I did not. Just plain old acrylic paint. But I'm going to use some wax on it. Just to add a little bit of depth. So I painted it in blue because I knew I was going to put some bluish color wax on here. And I'm just working it in. And you can layer these waxes as well. I think this one would be nice actually with some black wax, just to kind of the opposite where you have color and then the black on the high points. And this is all it takes on these pieces. I'm just going to set this aside so the wax dries. But look at, let it focus here for a minute. Okay, why is that not focusing? There we go. Look at that. So if I wanted to, I could cut this in half. So here's it, I could cut it in half. And this could be the top part. And I could still cut this now that it's kind of cured and it's a little bit harder. It's still a little soft because it still would need to sit for a little bit more, but you could cut them in half. You can break them up, and this little guy, I'm like obsessed with him. I think I might cut off the end and make it look like a turtle, and that was, you know, not my intention, but not by not putting in those side pieces, it looks like a little baby. Let me see if I can get this to focus. A little baby turtle, isn't that cute? Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this. I would definitely check out Craspire. I will put all the links below. I think I might have to do some more shopping because I'm obsessed with these molds. I think they are beautiful, they're delicate, they're detailed. I mean, look at this detail. Super, super fun, super easy. And then also Amazing Casting Resin is the resin that I was using here. So both the black and the white casting resin. So bye-bye.